Um, is January 20th, 2021, and we're going to bring to the Green Bay Sexual Offenders Residency Board for our meeting today. A quick roll call. Rachel, do you want to call it out, or do we just want to know if you see anybody who is not available? I do see some folks that are not here today.
I see Faye is here, Renee is here, Dean is here, Ed is here. I do not see Heidi. I will reflect that in the minutes.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Let's see here. Let's get to my notes here. Too many windows open. So the next thing, I want approval of the agenda for today's meeting. Could I have a motion to approve today's agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? I'll second it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is so approved. Approval of our minutes from the December 16th meeting.
Move to approve.
I was just say, is there any comments anybody has, or else I'll move to ask for a motion. Being there are no comments, does somebody want to make a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Next, we're going to hear our first appeal, which is from Trey Borschinger. Trey, are you here today?
Yes, I am.
All right, Trey, thanks for being here today. We're going to hear your appeal to move to make sure we have this correct to 2769 Daniel Court, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. So one of the things we're going to talk about is we want you to be prepared to describe your offense. We're going to ask you what treatment programs that you have or have not received so far. We're going to ask you to be prepared to describe the different factors you want the board to take into consideration of why we should allow you to live in the city of Green Bay. We're going to ask that you be prepared to discuss, why you feel you're rehabilitated and not a risk to the community, why you are remorseful for what happened, and then be prepared why you're not likely to reoffend. So make sure those are the things that you should include in your testimony. The other thing is we ask you, as you're describing your offense, not to use personal names of your victims or any reference as to whether they were a relative or not. Trying to just refer to the person as the victim, if that's all right.
All right. Question
right?
first.
Go ahead.
Can you clarify when you said the for my crime, do you mean the original case or my revocation or both?
It'll be anything that's on your record. So
okay, because I have revocation, so that's why I was just clarifying that.
So, I mean, obviously, the first and foremost, we're going to talk about your sexual offenses first. That's the most important thing. And then if a board member has a question, or you want to talk about your revocations before we ask the questions, you're more than welcome to do so.
Okay.
Okay. With that said, we are going to move to hear your testimony. So at this particular time, you can go ahead and first talk about your sexual offenses.
I'm going to recuse myself from this one. This is Faye.
Okay. So noted, Faye. Okay, so go ahead, sir.
So when I was in high school, all my victims I was dating, they were at high school as well. I was dating each one of them at in between each other and so forth. We had both romantic and sexual relationships, and one thing led to another, and we did have sexual intercourse. I was in 2012, about, I'd say in June, I was picked up by the Green Bay Police Department for it. And they asked me if I had committed my crimes, and I admitted to it. So I believe my victims were 15 and another 15-year-old.
How old were you at the time, sir?
I was, at the time of committing the crime, I was 18. When I was convicted, I was 19.
Okay, thank you.
So I was sentenced to, originally to, on 3 counts of 4th degree sexual assault, and was given time served with 2 years of probation with a 4th case on execution. I accepted the deal, and that's what I was given. Throughout my probation, I did, what was it, like almost 4 months of probation, and I had been revoked. I had made some mistakes and some poor choices.
What were those mistakes, sir?
I was given the rest of my probation time in Brown County Jail, and was then released from jail with, I believe, the court not realizing I had a pending case at that time. When they arrested me in Nashwabanon, I was staying in a motel, and they arrested me and they brought me to jail. They sentenced me, in the end, they sentenced me to 3 years in, 10 years on extended supervision. I did the 3 in without any programming. I was unable to take it the first time and was released.
Quick, can I ask a quick question first? A little bit of
Yes.
confusion. You said you were revocated. Is that why you were?
Yes, I'm on revocation for the final case that I was sentenced on.
Right, but was that revocation? Did you receive 3 years because of that revocation, or for the other crime?
For the other crime, the
Okay.
deferred prosecution.
Okay, thank you. All right, sir, is there any other things that you'd want to talk to us as to why you believe you should be allowed to live in Green Bay?
Well, I believe that living with my grandparents, I would be more supervised actually at their place. They're, as you know, they're an older couple. They don't leave the house quite as often. So I would have quite a bit more supervision. I have a job lined up for release. My programming is all set up. I'm already on the wait list for my release. So I believe I have quite a bit going for me that will show that I can be a productive member of society, and I am not, that I've been changing the way I think and the way I am.
Okay. Any thoughts on your feelings as regards to remorse for your crimes, or what you ultimately feel that led you to this situation?
Excuse me, I didn't hear you.
So, I mean, do you have any remorse for what happened to the victims and in your circumstances?
Actually, I do. Thing is that I should never have put my victims through what I did. It really, I made them look bad. I made their families look bad. I just feel like I did do something wrong. I should not have done it in the first place. I took advantage of my victim and all my victims, and I shouldn't have at all. And I do think about it regularly that if I could go back, I would.
Okay, is there anything else you'd like to say to the board?
I do have no treatment for sexual offense treatment while I was here. I was unable to complete it due to a lack of time, but I was able to complete Thinking for a Change, and I have done all the prison portion of Windows to Work, which after I get released, they will continue to help. And as I said before, I do have programming lined up. For the most part, my PO has me on a wait list for release. So,
Okay, thank you. Is the officer on the phone or on our Zoom call today?
This is a social worker.
No, I was looking for a Green Bay policeman.
Yes, Paul Abel is on.
Oh, there you go, Paul. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. Just from the case files you see there, has his testimony concurred that there was no forcibility with the victims, or are they saying there was forcible?
Based on the criminal complaints, he was 18 years of age. Each one of his victims were under the age of 16. They were in a dating relationship, seems to be a very period on some of them. But yes, he did, he pled no contest, and he did give a statement, and he knew why the officers were there to see him.
From the victim standpoint, you're not seeing anything was, at least from the victim standpoint, that it was forced upon them.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. With that said, I'm going to open up to the board any questions that you may have of Trey.
I have
Hi.
a question. Trey, you started to explain why you were revoked. You said you made some choices, and Mr. Durandale was going to follow up with what were those choices. Can you expand on that, please? Why were you revoked?
yes. So I made some bad choices, as I said. I was going to NWTC. I met, I was trying to go for culinary arts. There was a girl there that, I started having feelings for, but it was, I let my sexual urges get the best of me at that time. And I kind of was on a stalking spree with her. I kind of, I followed her around, and she reported me to the school campus police. And I was not charged with anything, but I was kicked out of NWTC and was revoked for 3 years. So I do admit that I did, have some things that I should not have done there. I should have, if I had something, I wanted to say to her, I should have just said it instead of going with my urges and doing what I did in the end, which was pretty much, yeah, I can consider it stalking. I should not have. I should have said something to either her and I didn't.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that.
When did this happen?
This happened in middle to end of January 2018.
Oh, okay, okay. Dean, did you ask them about treatment, public or private? Did we get to that yet or no?
So, sir, you have the opportunity to talk about your treatment programs in either public or private session. Are you okay with staying in public session?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, oh, go ahead.
At this time, I do not have any treatment for my sexual offenses while incarcerated. I was unable to do it. I did not have enough time. My last time I was in prison, I did not have enough time as well. So I do not have any treatment at this point for sex offenses, but I do have change and most of the Windows to Work program done except for the street portion.
Do we have any documentation on the windows to change or anything? Did you submit any of that?
I believe I did. I don't know for sure.
It's not.
I have.
Yeah, I'm not seeing, I don't see it.
This is Deanna from the law department. I did not receive any documentation. He's currently incarcerated, so that's where he's calling in from the meeting from.
Okay.
Sir, are you being prescribed any medication at the time, currently?
At this time, yes, I take lamotrigine and sertraline.
For what reason?
Bipolar, anxiety, and depression.
Trying to understand, once you're revoked, that was in 2018, you had 2 years.
Yes.
So you had 2 years and they couldn't fit you in to start, or they wouldn't start you because there wasn't time to.
Yes, I was sentenced to 3 years. By the time I got here, I was unable to complete program. They asked me and I said yes. They sent me up to the unit that they used for the program, but they did not have one starting up soon enough to where I could be in it.
When are you released?
When?
Yes.
I am releasing in on the 26th of this month.
So Trey, a quick question. Back in 2017, when you came in front of the board, you were denied access to the city of Green Bay. After that, is based upon your previous testimony, you were living in a motel at the time, in a Schwabana?
Yes, they had released me from the Brown County Jail, and that was before I had been convicted of the crime that I am currently serving revocation for. They released me without realizing they had a pending case. So I was staying at a motel just because I had nowhere really else to go. But once I was revoked this last time, when I got released in January of 2018, I was staying at the TLP on Shawano Avenue.
Okay. Did you ever look into the TLP for this after you're released here first or not? Is that an option for you?
Yes, I can stay at the T if I need to. I believe that my PO has put a spot in for a room. I don't know if it's for sure right now, but I believe it is a possibility.
One of the things, sir, you had indicated that you got on a waiting list, or you're on a current waiting list. to receive sexual?
Yes, I am on a list for programming for my sex offender treatment.
Do you know with who?
My POS on the list. I don't know how long it's going to be or how soon it will be, but I know I am on a list.
Okay. Is there any more questions for him?
Not at this point.
Do we have anybody on the agenda that wants to speak either for or against this individual?
We do, he's on here.
Yes, I would like to. I'm Robert Warshinger. I'm Trey's grandfather.
Mr. Borschinger, would you state your address for the record too?
Right, 2769 Daniel Court. I'm his grandfather. Trey was under our guardianship from the age of 7. And I do feel that we would like to have Trey to be able to adjust, to live with us and to adjust back into society. He was basically arrested for 2 weeks out of high school. And so he's never really been able to live on his own. And so I think we could be helping him to adjust the structural changes that he will have to go through. It is our hope that we can help him to prepare after a time to be on his own. At his last release from prison, he was placed in a TLC, but he was there without a lack of any support. They kind of left him on his own. And of course, after that, he quickly had his probation revoked because of what he described to you as far as some of his interactions with a student at NWTC. As far as we're concerned, as far as I'm concerned, this is the second time that the system has failed to provide him with the treatment program. The first time that he was willing to take it, and they couldn't work him into the schedule. The second time around, again, the DOC had a lack of scheduling. They had sent him to, because they're crowding in the prisons, they had sent him over to Baroka to a county jail. And then by the time he was able to come back to Oshkosh, again, they could not fit him into the programming because of their timing. So twice he was willing to take the DOC training, but because of their scheduling at the DOC, they didn't make it available. I do feel that if he's living with us, that he will be able to get the treatment that he wants and he needs. And also he will be able to continue to receive, as is a problem and so forth, as he described, he is under medication, and that we will be seeing to it that he will be getting the medication that he needs for his ADC and depression and so forth. And this is of course on a personal note. I'm going to be 81 in February, and I would look forward to some help that he can give us, that he can give me around the house with housework, especially yard work. And it's also, he always enjoyed working with me on different gardening and different craft projects. So for that reason, I would really like to give him the temporary ability to be living with us so that he can adjust back to society. He's never been on 8 years. He's never really had to live on his own. He's always just been kind of thrown out there and not been able to really get up and function as he should. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Mhm.
Is there anybody else that wants to speak either for or against him? Okay, appreciate that. I think the last question I have for you, sir, is you said you have a job lined up, correct? And then who's that with?
That'll be with some partners in Denmark.
Okay. Is that a full-time job or a part-time job? Is it going to be a full-time or part-time job?
It will be a full-time.
Okay. And I'm assuming that your agent would have documentation that you are on a waiting list for treatment?
Yes, I believe she would.
Okay. All right, does anybody want to make a motion in regards to his status? Or have any comments prior to making a motion? For me, I'll tell you, for me to even consider a temporary placement, I would want to make sure that we have that offer of a job, and that I want to see that he's actually on a true waiting list, and who is he on a waiting list with. And I think, pending those two things, I'd be willing to look at a temporary placement, because let's be honest with you. I mean, you didn't have any sexual offender training and you went and stalked another girl. Okay. And that tells me that, even by his own admission, he's not been able to make good choices when it comes to his sexuality in regards to dealing with his urges. So I'm a little leery here of you granting the temporary, because he hasn't had that opportunity. But at the same time, I also feel that for someone who's never lived in a situation like that, probably leads more to a potential revocation for another mistake. So I did read the information in regards to his probation. Sir, one other quick question. Are you required to wear an ankle bracelet?
I do not know. It was questionable at this point. My PO was going to look into that.
Okay, because I did not see that in the judge's orders either. So, so that's where I'm at with this right now. So does anybody else want to make a comment before we ask for a motion?
I'm in agreement with your comments. I truly am very concerned with treatment, that's like priority in my mind. So, and I understand his not having on his own since 2 weeks from high school. It maybe would be nice to have the 24-hour supervision grandparents. That's what I'm thinking.
Ed, any comments?
No, I kind of agree with what you had to say, Dean.
Okay. Well, I'm going to make a motion to approve him at this location, address specific, for a term of 90 days, pending documentation of his job, employment status, as well as proof that his PO has put him on a list, and her expected timing of when he's going to be able to get into a treatment program. Is there a second to that?
I will second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, sir, you've been approved to live at, let me get the exact location here. Hang on a quick second.
2769 Daniel Court.
Daniel Court, for a term of 90 days in which you'll have to report back to this board. Before you are approved, though, your PO has to present to the city proof that you are on that list, and when she would expect you to be able to get into a program, as well as you have
Okay.
documentation to the city that you have a job lined up, as you said, when you are released.
Okay.
You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. We will send that letter to the address that you intend to live to, so that's where it will go. Again, you are not approved
Okay.
to live there until that documentation is to the city and it's been verified.
Okay.
All right. Is there any other questions?
No.
All right. Well, then we're going to go ahead and move on to our next
I
case.
think Faye was trying to say something. I'm sorry, board. Faye, you're muted. It looked like you were trying to say something. You're still muted, Faye.
I guess, so he gets out Tuesday. So he can go to 2769 Daniel Court, but he has to get that documentation to you in 90 days or sooner.
No, prior to him living there. So he has to get through with his PO. His PO can send a note to the city that he's signed up with, X company for sexual offender treatment. And he has to get proof from his employer that he is going to start his job and he has a full-time job lined up. Until then, he can't live there. If he can't provide it, it's not approved.
I think
Has to come
Robert
back
wants to ask.
90 days with us, and hopefully he's in a program so we can talk to him about how that program is going. Does that make sense?
Okay, just one more, I guess one more time. Okay, so until those documents get to you, he can't live at 2769 Daniel Court.
Correct.
When those documents get to you, he may, until the 90 days, to make sure all of that continued.
Well, yeah, we want to see if he's in a treatment program, he still has his job, things that are going to make us more comfortable with him giving him permanent residence within the city.
Okay.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next person. Mr. Jamie Mulch. Much?
Yep.
All right, sir. We're gonna start with, first of all, you're looking to move to 217 South Taylor Street, apartment 15, is that correct?
Yep.
All right. Again, we're gonna start off with your particular testimony, describe your offense, and again, you just want to refer to the person as the victim, not by personal name or affiliation. You want to be able to describe your treatment that you received. I'm going to ask you right now, are you okay with talking about your treatments within public session, or do you want to move to a private session to discuss those?
Public.
Okay.
That's fine.
We want to understand all the different factors that you want us to take into consideration as why you should be allowed to live in the city of Green Bay. You want to tell us, why you feel you've been rehabilitated. Discuss, any remorse that you have for the issues that you had in your crime, and tell us why you're not going to reoffend. So with describing your crime. So why don't you go ahead, sir?
Okay. Back in July of 2009, I think it was on the 27th of July of 2009, I was visiting in Kaukauna with my brother because I lived in Denmark at this time with my mom. So I went to Kaukauna to go visit with my brother, sister, and dad. And I ended up deciding to go over to my old stepsister's house, which was my dad's ex-girlfriend's daughter. Didn't know that there was a birthday party or anything going on. I just went over to visit, ended up meeting one of her friends, which ended up being my victim. Later that night, I had drugged her and took advantage of her and raped her. And she was 14 at the time, I was 18. I didn't get convicted until almost a year later when I was 19. Got put on a 4-year deferred prosecution agreement. 6 months into that, I violated it by failing a piss test because the judge told me if I pass a piss test today, I don't have to see him for the next 48 months. But if I fail, then it's going to get revoked. And I failed, it got revoked. And that was in 2011, I believe. And then that got revoked. I got sentenced to 9 months in county jail and 10 years of probation. first 5 years of probation, I was in and out of jail for different violations. Majority of them were staying overnight at people's houses, hanging out with minors, tampered with a piss test, getting into relationships with people. And then I got revoked in August of 2016. Probation, which those violations also were being in contact with minor males, being in a park. Think there's more, but I can't remember. So I got revoked to 5.5 years in prison and 4.5 out. Ended up serving almost 4 years in prison. Just got released in July 2016 or 2020. This whole time I've been out, I've stayed at the TLP for about 3 months. Ended up going to live at a hotel for a month. Couldn't save no money for a place or anything because I was paying about $400 a week at the hotel. So my PO ended up putting me back into the TLP for about 2 months, saved up money. I've been going between the EMP bracelet and the GPS bracelet for the past 6 months. I'm currently on the GPS bracelet right now, and my PO and my landlord approved me to stay at the residence that I'm trying to get at right now. That's currently why I'm on GPS bracelet until you guys accept me, if you guys do. So that's pretty much all the basics right there.
Sir, how often are you getting drug tested right now?
Haven't been.
Since
'Cause
July?
I haven't been piss tested at all. I really don't care about none of that stuff. All I care about is just rebuilding my life, and every day, ever since 3 weeks after I got out.
Where are you working?
I work full-time through a temp service called Packer Sanitation Services. They have me working third shift at American Foods. And I work 6 days a week.
So I'm looking at your conditions for your latest release, and it also said here, if I'm reading it correctly, that you had to have an assessment done. Obviously, you are going under counseling. I saw the documentation in regards to that. But did you get an assessment done?
For a group?
Well, it says here that the defendant must go under counseling, and let's see here. I thought it said you had to have an assessment done in terms of your in terms of you potentially reoffending or not. Just trying to read that here again. Yeah, here is: the defendant is to undergo a sex offender assessment and comply with any recommendation treatments. Has your parole officer given you, or have you received an assessment, sex offender assessment?
Don't think I did an assessment. I just started group right away.
Again, I'm reading this right from the conditions and notes under your release.
Well, I have group every Tuesday, so I can always ask Pablo about it, or I can talk to my PO about it tomorrow, because I got to call her tomorrow for an appointment.
Yeah, it says defendant, yeah. Defendant is also to complete a sexual history polygraph. Have you done a polygraph test?
No. I didn't know I had to do any of that. My PO never told me about anything about
So wouldn't this be the responsibility of the agent to take care of?
Okay.
No, I'm asking Rachel.
Oh.
I would think that the PO would help coordinate some of those things, especially if it's something that the DOC would administer, like a polygraph or something like that. I mean, it's a court order, so ultimately it falls on the defendant to comply with the court order. But I mean, that's part of the role of the probation agent, is to guide the probationer through that process.
Okay. Officer, as he described the case for his crimes, is that what the case file reads?
Yeah, actually, he was more in depth than what the criminal complaint reads. Well, yes, he is accurate.
All right, thank you. So right now, when are you scheduled to be released from the TOP where you can't stay there again?
I'm already released from the TOP. As I said before, my PO approved me to stay at the residence that I'm trying to get approved through you guys, but she currently put me on GPS bracelet because I really had nowhere else to go.
So where are you living now?
At 217 South Taylor Street. I'm currently on the GPS bracelet right now. So, and if I don't get approved to live here, then I have to move out and either go back to the TLP or stay at a hotel. Because
When
I
did
have,
you move into
on the 4th of this month. So I've only been here for probably about 2 weeks.
This really ticks me off, not you, sir, so much as your PO placing you there without the permission of the city prior to.
Yeah, that's one thing I really didn't want to do because I know that, you know, she's not really, I don't know if she's really supposed to, but she just didn't want me to waste any money at a hotel, and I'd go stay with my brother, but he lives right across the street from a park in De Pere, and she thinks that'd be a little risky with my last violation of being in a park. But my brother is my chaperone. I do have a good support system out here, a great support system, but it's mostly my brother and my girlfriend. So,
Okay. Are there any more questions for him that any board members have?
I do. It's regarding your treatment. Did you say you go weekly?
yes, it's weekly.
Okay.
Also, I was in treatment for when I was at Oshkosh, but when COVID hit, they kind of canceled it all. So I couldn't finish it in prison, but I did start it, I think like a month or two or something like that after I got out.
And where did you say you're working?
American Foods, the East River plant.
Is this full time?
Yes, it's full time. I work 6 days a week, 7 hours a day, 11 to 6.
I have a question. Who will you be living with at this address?
At this address, by myself.
The
It-
the
it's
two
gonna be-
seventeen South Taylor.
Yeah, it's gonna be my first apartment that I have ever owned in my, since I've been an adult, so.
How is it going living there alone now?
It's going pretty good. It's definitely helping me save a lot of money up. I'm also currently waiting on a vehicle from my dad that my PO approved. He's just got to fix it. But other than that, it's going good. My landlord's pretty cool. So, and my landlord knows about my case and everything. And if I get approved, then tomorrow I get to go fill out the paperwork for the lease and stuff. So.
All right, any other more questions for him?
And what is it? Will it be a month-to-month lease or what? Or don't you know?
Either that or a year lease. I won't know for sure until tomorrow. I get.
Jamie, who's your probation agent?
Barbara Villanueva.
Okay, thank you.
All right, is there anybody who wants to speak either for or against this person?
There was a guy that wanted to speak on my behalf, but I don't know if he's on here or not. His name is Craig Coleman. He works with Ford Services Corporation. He's the one that got me my job, but I don't know if he made it or not.
Well, he obviously didn't chime in, so I'm gonna assume that he did not make it.
Okay.
Before I ask for, for a recommendation here going forward, here's some of the things that obviously I think, obviously he's living here currently with the parole officer's notice, which again is in direct, violation of our ordinance. It seems like, he did not go through his sexual offender assessment, which is required by law. And also he did not complete a sexual history polygraph test, which again is required as part of his parole. So I feel I don't think there's any reason to approve him to this location because he hasn't complied with the terms of his probation. So approving him is to me doesn't make sense when the parole agent hasn't even helped him meet the terms of his parole, which he could be revoked at any time basically. So I don't know what anybody else thinks, but that's where I'm kind of at right now. So,
I agree, but put it on the agent. Jamie.
I do. I agree with you 100%. I think that, the accountability of the parole officer here is to make sure that those terms and conditions are met. So the client can, go on with their life.
Mhm.
And just kind of put him in a position where, he hasn't been able to do that. So, but that's where I'm at because I don't see a reason to approve him when he can be revoked today. So I think, based upon the information that we have so far, that he has a job, that he is attending a class, although it doesn't say, it says he's attended, he hasn't missed anything, he's participating, but again, with all that assessment, I don't know, if he's a high risk or if he's a low risk. I have no clue, and obviously they ordered it for a reason, court. So that's where I'm sitting right now.
I have a question, Jamie, help me with the timeline again. When you were first when you first went to prison, when was that?
August 27th of 2016.
Okay. And that was the first time. And you were in for how long?
4 years.
Okay.
That was for my revocation.
Your revocation, okay. Yeah, I was just I'm not seeing a date on the condition, just when that was, if that was after the revocation or if that was coming out of the county jail. I just can't make sense of that one.
And I was going to say that almost always before someone is placed in a, in a treatment program, they do that evaluation because that determines, which program they're going to go into.
We should really ask Jamie, did you go through some assessment prior to your first meeting?
No.
Okay, so Faye, it didn't happen.
So your agent just said, this is your this is what you're going to? How did
Yeah,
you get into this treatment?
huh?
How did you treatment program? Did the agent just say this is where you're going and that's it, or?
She told me that I'll be going through treatment under Pablo and that he'll send me an email when I'm gonna start group. And I
And
didn't,
Pablo didn't ask you any questions one-on-one before you started your group?
no.
Okay, so does anybody want to make a motion in this case?
Can I ask one more question?
Go ahead, Faye.
Is there a possibility you could get a month-to-month rental situation?
I probably can talk to my landlord, yes, and see if I can do that. But I mean, the past 6 months I've been out, it took me this long to find a place and I just been struggling the whole time. I mean, I'm not trying to like sound like I've, or I don't know, I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of, but I just been trying my best to do what I can to succeed in the community, and I think I've done that. And with all my PO following the conditions of the parole board and stuff for having me move in here, kind of gets on my nerves a little bit. But I've just been trying my best, and but I can talk to my landlord and see if I could do month to month, but I don't know if he'll do that.
All right, does anybody else want to make a motion?
I'm gonna make a motion to move Mr. Mulch to 217 South Taylor Street, address specific for him to hear from his agent why he has not assessment or a polygraph, and if he will be getting one, and maybe also from Pablo.
So what your motion is to approve address specific for 60 days, at which time he has to get answers on his 2 probationary questions,
Correct.
and documentation if he's going to have an assessment.
Correct.
All right, is there a second to that?
Yes, I second that.
Okay, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Opposed? I am opposed. Sir, so you've been granted 60 days at that location, at which time you're going to have to come back to us, and your conditions of your parole, which 2 factors have not been done, the assessment that needs to get done, as well as the polygraph, and then the documentation related to, we want to see that assessment, that it is completed within the 60-day time frame. Okay.
Okay.
And we will send that information in a letter to you at that location. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Pending you not getting those things done, I don't think the board would approve you for any longer. So you need to make sure those things get taken care of.
All right, will do.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Rachel, does the city of Green Bay then go to the agent?
I will be.
Oh, thank you. Okay, good.
I will be, I'll be asking for clarification on why things happened the way that they did.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is Sydney Lease Jr. Lisi.
Yes.
All right. You're looking to move to 1740 Newberry Avenue, apartment number 4.
Correct.
Okay. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to ask for you to describe your offense. Please maintain that you only refer to the person as the victim, not by any name or surname. Be prepared to describe what treatments you received. Again, you have the right to do that in private session or public. Which would you prefer?
Public.
You have to describe, what factors that you want to tell the board that we should be taking into consideration. Be prepared to discuss, why you feel you're rehabilitated, why you're remorseful, and why you're likely not to reoffend. You understand that, sir?
Yes.
Okay. So why don't you go ahead and start off with describing your incident.
In 2014, I was arrested and charged with 4 counts of possession of child pornography.
Okay. How did they go about learning that you had this in your possession?
I don't know. I came back from a medical appointment at the VA in Milwaukee, and the officers were there to arrest me.
The first degree sexual assault as well in 1988.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
I was accused of touching my girlfriend's daughter's vagina and breast area. On the advice of my attorney, I made an Alford plea, which is there was enough evidence to prove my guilt, but I could maintain my innocence. I was since convicted of that. I spent 6 months in county jail and successfully served 5 years of probation.
Okay. Did you do it, sir?
Yes. Did I do that? No, sir, I did not.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to tell us? Again, this is your time to describe why you feel that you should be allowed in the city. You can talk about your treatment programs. Anything else you want to talk to us that gives us more information as to why we should approve you?
My treatment program was done when I was in New Lisbon. You have the certificate of completion for sexual offender treatment. My probation officer, since I got out of the TLP in August, I've been living in a motel. And it's quite costly. I spent a lot of money there, and in the last month or so, the Center for Veterans Issues has paid for that motel in order for me to save a little money. My agent has given me until February to save the money necessary to get an assessment training through family services. Jim Drake, I believe, is the gentleman's name. I'll be calling him after I receive my retirement check in February to set up an assessment.
I noticed your application wasn't signed by your agent. Did they?
She told me she did not have to sign that.
Okay.
Who is your agent?
Kimberly Schultz.
Oh, I don't have a good connection, so I didn't hear that.
Kimberly Schultz.
Oh, thank you.
Officer, do you have the file in front of you?
Yes, I do.
Is there any more information that would shed light on his crime than other than what he said?
So the one in question, which is the one I have from June 10th of 2014, it was a cyber tip to the then detective Brian Schilt, where he had gotten a lot of documents from Google and Yahoo, which proved that he had child pornography.
Okay.
Does looking at pornography, do they have a record of that?
No, it was actual, yeah, so there's actual videos of child pornography, children 5 years of age. I saw one where there was a child 3 to 4 years of age. So a number of video files.
Sir, why do you think you did what you did?
Actually, I was depressed and bored. I was looking for some excitement. I realize now that I should not have done that. It's totally inappropriate, and it ruined my life.
So I'm trying to understand a little bit. You said you're looking for some excitement. And
I was unemployed. I've been unemployed for quite a long time. I was frustrated. And yeah, I got an email that started the whole thing. I should not have opened it, but I did. And it got me hooked.
Okay. What did you learn in your training?
I learned that I have to control my impulses, and that children are not to be exploited. No one is to be exploited, women or men or adults. I learned to be more cognizant of other people's feelings and issues. That I should have more self-respect for myself than do things like this.
Are you currently working, officer?
I am now retired, sir.
Are you going to be living with anybody?
No,
How often does your support system or you interact with your support system listed?
I would love, but her landlord at this time not allow me to move in with her. I'm allowed to be over there 4 hours on Monday, 5 hours on Monday, 5 hours on Wednesday, and possibly now 5 more hours on a Friday. I have just received a request after meeting with my church's council, be allowed to go back to church with some conditions that are set by my rules of supervision. I have to get that over to my agent for their review. And I have several good friends who also support me and help me out.
Would you intend your wife to move in with you into this location?
No, we cannot do that. This is a second floor apartment. My wife is handicapped, cannot climb the stairs. We have been looking since I got out of the TOP for a permanent residence, preferably outside the city of Green Bay. And I have not been able to find one due to my record and COVID. People are not moving.
Okay. Is there any questions that the board has of him?
Yeah, I have a question. On the sheet that you filled out, on the appeal form, sir, regarding the possession of child pornography, where it asked about victim, you put not applicable. Can you explain that?
When I was at court, the DA tried to submit a victim witness statement to be read into the record, and the judge said it was not appropriate because the statement said there were no victims, because these weren't actual people, they were only pictures. And they couldn't be sure that these were the right victims.
Do you believe there were any victims involved in that?
Yes, there were.
Okay, you want to expand on that then? I mean, I understand what you're saying as far as nobody specifically named, but what about the victims of child pornography? That do you have any
Yes,
responsibility there?
Yes, I do. I guess I prolonged their suffering and humiliated them further. I think sex trafficking is a horrible situation in this country and all over the world. And I don't think anybody should be forced to do that.
That's my only question.
All right, any other questions?
How long were you watching the child pornography for? How many years?
Probably about 4 months, maybe.
I didn't catch that.
4
About
months.
4 months.
4 months, okay.
Oh, I do have another question. You mentioned veteran services. Are you a veteran?
Yes, sir.
When did you serve?
73 to 77 and 83 to 93.
What branch?
Marines and Army Reserve.
Okay.
Okay, if there's no other questions, does anybody want to speak either for or against Mr. Lisi?
My wife would like to say something. We're just going to change chairs though.
Go ahead.
Oh, my name
Please,
is Sarah
yeah,
Gottschalk.
could you spell that, please?
Sarah has an H. Gottschalk is Gottschalk. And Lisi is Leyse.
And your address, ma'am?
919 Edgewood Drive, Green Bay, Wisconsin.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, I've known Sid since 1990. So I've known him 30 years. And we've been married about 15 of them. And as far as I've seen in all the things that we've done, he's never done anything bad. He was very depressed at the time. He had to have open heart surgery, and he lost his job and couldn't find another one. And I knew something was wrong, but I couldn't put my finger on what it was. It was just depression. And he's sorry for what he did. And I believe him, and I love him, and I still want to spend my life with him.
Okay. Thank you very much for your testimony. Unless there's anything else you want to say.
Not that I can think of.
All right, thank you.
Fine.
All right, is there anybody that wants to make a motion in this case?
Are you going to do discussion first?
Well, any discussion anybody wants to have? I don't have anything at this time.
Neither do I.
I don't either.
I don't.
All right, then, is there a motion anybody wants to make?
I'll make a motion to deny Mr. Lisi to 1740 Newberry Avenue. No,
Is there a second? I'll second that motion. So we're gonna have a vote of denying Mr. Lisi to the address that he has asked for. Say aye. Aye.
I,
Opposed?
I,
It's 3-1, sir. So you've been denied the ability to move to 716 Street, I believe. Again, I'm sorry, I'll get to it again. Sorry.
We need to have a basis for the denial on the record. So for those of you who denied, can you share some of your rationale?
Sure. My feeling is that there's not a clear definition in my mind as to his rehabilitation and the status of the victims that he had. I'm not convinced that although he went through sex offender training, that it has shown any difference in his attitude of what has happened in this particular case. I'm not prepared to move forward with it.
as well.
Yeah, I share that sense in terms of particularly, I appreciate what he said regarding the victims of child pornography, but it seemed almost forced. So I think that needs some more reflection.
All right, sir. You've been denied to move to 1740 Newberry Avenue, apartment 4. It does not preclude you from coming back at a later time, pending any changes to a different location or in your status. So I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for throwing me out in the cold in the middle of winter during the COVID epidemic. Thank you all, board members.
Next up is Mr. Isaac Vang. Mr. Vang, are you here?
He's on here. He's still muted. Mr. Vang, can you please unmute yourself?
Hello, hello.
Hello, Mr. Vang. We're here to hear your appeal to move to 1443 East Mason Street Upper. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. Before we begin, just want to go over a few things. We want you in your testimony to be prepared to describe your offense. Be prepared to describe your treatment that you received, if any. And you have the right to do that either in public or private session. Which would you prefer, sir?
Public.
Okay, public it is. Be prepared to different factors that you want the board to take into consider your case. Be prepared to feel why you've been rehabilitated, why you feel remorseful, and why you will not likely reoffend. So when you talk about your offense, please make sure you don't refer to the person by them as the victim. So go ahead, sir. Tell us what happened in the case and your offense.
All right. My offense, I was convicted of sexual assault, 2nd degree, years on paper. It happened when I was 17 and the victim was 14, around, I believe, October 30th. I sexual assaulted the victim, performed sexual intercourse with the victim.
Did you know how old?
And multiple times. The victim was 14.
No, did you know how old she was at the time?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Go ahead.
I performed intercourse with the victim forcefully, and multiple times I did that to the victim. And I was convicted when I was 19 years old in September 2015. I believe it was the 15th or 20th. That's when the Outagamie sheriff and cops came and arrested me. And I sat in Calumet County.
So your offense was in Calumet County, you said?
Yes, it was.
So is there a reason why then, since you're living in a halfway house in Milwaukee, would you be in Calumet County?
As in that, yeah, I do not understand that, because I did get approved when I got out of the institution to live at my auntie's house in Milwaukee. But me and my dad had a conflict and all that, and he told the family members to not let me back in the house. That is why I'm at the halfway house. I'm known as homeless. And as in for the address for me that I want to live at is my grandma. She's the landlord of the house. And I'm living upstairs with her son, which is my uncle, and my brother. I'm not living there now, but that is the address in Green Bay.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
Should I move on to the other question?
Yep.
All right, for treatment, I am in group. I'll be done in the beginning of February. I did complete T4C. Thank you for a change. And they did help me. I completed T4C while I was incarcerated, and then I'm doing SO1 right now. And they helped me a lot. My teachers been helping me, improve myself, educate myself about life to communication, especially behavior-wise too.
So what do you mean by behavior? Give me some examples.
behavior wise, as in, for T for C, think before you want to do that action or say what you want to really say on your mind. You gotta know, like, not to, if you're thinking about this and it's gonna hurt him or her feelings, then you shouldn't say it. You should just let it be. And then for the SO1, it's more like thinking errors and all that, instead of thinking errors, the same thing, think before you want to do something. And also, what do you call, just empathy, showing that you are sorry and all that. It's okay. And
So why do you think you did what you did?
I did what I did. I was young. I was stupid. I had no support. My mom was going through. My father, he was always in and out of prison, so never had the support like that. I only had my mom's sister, which is my auntie. She was the only one who was supporting me at that time, trying to. But just going through what I went through in the past, with my past life, my mom not being there, her getting shot and making it through, and just put a lot of pressure. I was just frustrated, and I took upon on that. I took that step and that leap, and I committed my crime, sir.
Okay.
I just ask you why on the report here, you write, I define this as a false charge on me. Process of appeal my case. The victim has mental obsession and I have no comment or reason of an answer in this.
I did write that and all that. And just at that time is like, because what I felt, I did feel that the victim did get mad. I was going to get married in our traditional way at that time, and I just felt like he was just obsessed with me and all that. So I was like, what the hell? I was like, I'm getting married, about to have a son. I do have a son that is in Brown County. I just want to be there.
Are you the victim?
No, my son. No, not the victim. I don't know where the victim is living at. There was a lot of errors. There's some errors, I should say, in the case and all that, because I was like, just there was no warranty and all that. So I was like, man, yeah, I mean, they said they were, and the judge said he overruled that and all that. Just a lot of complications and just a lot of things that was going on at that time, because I was going through a lot. I was struggling. I had nobody. I only had the mother of my child by my side.
How old is your child?
My son, he is 3 years old. He's going to be 4 years old next month.
All right. Does anybody have any more questions for him?
Do you have a job lined up if you come to Green Bay?
Yes, I do, sir. My brother works in Renona. I believe that's in De Pere, the cheese factory. Him and my friend's been working there for 3-4 years, and they're willing to pull me in ASAP, like the minute, if you guys do approve me. That's all I want to do is be financial and take this second chance and not relive the past. I just want to be a better man and a better role model, because in the end of the day, whatever I do that benefits me is going to benefit my son. I'll focus on that.
Where does
and my
your son
brother.
live right now?
Huh?
Where does your son live right now?
Right now, he lives with the mother of my child. They live in, I believe, Van Beek, somewhere over there. I don't really recall the address. I don't really remember.
And what was the town?
What did you say?
What town do they live in?
They live in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Oh,
Brown
in Green
County.
Bay. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I
I
didn't hear
think
that.
maybe it's Van Beek. Is it Van Beek?
Yeah, Van Beek.
Got it.
It's kind of like by like the east side Walmart over there, I believe. Goodwill.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Hello, hello.
Yeah,
Hello?
we're
We
here.
haven't gone anywhere.
Oh,
We haven't
oh,
gone
We haven't got
oh,
anywhere there.
I'm sorry.
It's,
I
no,
thought,
it's okay.
no,
Does the
no.
officer have any information on this case? I'm sorry, I was on mute. I apologize.
No, you're good.
I believe you asked for information on the case, Dean.
Yeah, I did. Yep, if you had anything.
So from the criminal complaint from Calumet County, it appears that Mr. Vang had been sexually assaulting this individual from the age of 8 to 16, according to the criminal complaint, over 300 times during that period of time, with the last occurrence in October of 2013.
Sir, do you concur with that?
When I was 16 and he was 8, that's the thing that's kind of false, is that he's only 3 years younger than me.
Maybe
Yeah.
you misunderstood me. It was between, the victim was
Oh, okay, yeah.
assaults.
Now I get what you're saying. Yeah, I apologize.
So is that true or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Did you say yes or no to that?
He
I
said
said
yes.
yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
So then, in fact, you still think this is a false charge?
Oh man, it was at that time I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say.
When did you fill this
But
out?
I do take in 2015, I believe.
I didn't catch that. I'm sorry.
In 2015.
No, she asked you, when did you
Fill out
fill
this
out
paper
the
5 years ago?
application?
Wait, what?
When did you fill out the application? I think she's asking.
Yes.
The application for the Green Bay board?
Yes.
I believe it was a couple of weeks ago.
It's dated January 5th of this year. So,
Yeah.
So okay, I'm just trying to understand how January 5th, you thought this was a false charge and now you don't.
Wait, January 5th, I filled that out?
That's what it says.
And January 5th in 2021, I didn't fill out anything. I just filled out what, I believe, what's your name, Diana? Whatever email she was sending me was what I was filling out. Like the landlord approval and to send her documentation that I was participating in class and all that. I don't
there's a
recall.
form called The Green Bay
filling that out.
Sexual Offender Residency Board Appeal Form. Have you ever seen that?
No, I have not.
Oh my God.
Board, this is Deanna. When I got the application initially, there was a bunch of question marks on it, and I emailed Mr. Vang and asked him to complete it, and he completed it and sent it to me again.
Oh, I see question marks of offense, date, offense, victim's age.
Yeah, because it was the areas that I didn't fill out, and then I filled it out again and I resent it to her.
So you did see the form.
Oh, that form? But I didn't answer no questions like that.
But I guess when you resent him the form, you sent him the entire form, correct?
Yes, I
Yeah,
asked him
I
to
think-
resend it to me with the information added.
So on there is the sexual offense. It says, false charge on me. I am in the process of an appeal of my case. The victim has mental obsession and I have no comment or reason to answer in this. You did not write
Yeah.
that.
Oh, okay. Now it's making sense. Yes. I'm sorry. I'm nervous right now. I'm gonna be very honest.
So you did write that.
Yes, I did, sir. Well, I just feel like it was a false allegation. Like, I don't, oh, I'm just really nervous right now. It just, when that happened, I was getting married with my wife at that time, and I was just like, I am still gonna appeal it because it just, I don't know. It just like, I'm just trying to get approved to Green Bay so I can work and take care of my family, my son, and help my brother out. I feel like if I tell you guys like, hey, I didn't do it, then it's just gonna be like, okay, he's lying. And there's denials there. This is the honest truth, is denials. So I don't want to.
I think
just,
what we're trying to get to is, and other board members can speak to this as well. I mean, I don't want to speak for them. We're trying to understand, based upon the information that the officer told us in your testimony. Okay.
yes.
And
I still want to appeal it. I didn't do it. It just, I felt like if I just agree with you guys, then they'll be fine. It's just like, it's not who I am. I know who I am.
okay.
I had a bad history, like as in like going through house to house and all that.
Right.
I was poor. My mom got shot, and it just like,
So
I'm so nervous and overwhelmed.
Why did you plead guilty?
I plead guilty because at that time my fiance, she was 2 months pregnant with my son. So I took the plea, and my fiance was like, Isaac, you'll be out soon. Don't worry. I did it for my son's sake, and I did it for my fiance and for mine, so I can come home early and be a dad. That is the honest truth why I took the plea.
So the charges that the Commander Abel read that these assaults to this individual started when he was like 8 years old and continued until he was 14. So a period of 6 years. It would seem to me that they would have to have some pretty strong evidence of that. But you're saying that now that the truth is none of that happened?
It didn't happen at all. I know it didn't happen. But it's just, I'm trying to make you guys understand. There's just so much going on. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I don't think that we're trying to understand the truth. Okay. And so
Okay.
it's okay to say if you did it on the advice of your attorney, that's, I don't want to say that that's okay, but I mean, you're telling us why you did what you did in the plea. Okay. So.
Okay. I was convicted of that. I was stated that I did this to the victim, but I didn't do it. And at that time, it's just like, I didn't do it. And my public defender told me, we have a strong case. Isaac. And then in the end of the day, there was more allegation. And then a couple of weeks later, he tells me, the case is not strong. Do you want to go to trial? I was like, sure, I want to go to trial. He said, you're going to face a lot of time if you do lose. So they came with a plea deal. And when my fiance was pregnant, when I found out she was pregnant, we talked about it. It was me and her. We talked about it. She said, I would just take the plea deal. Just take it. It's 3 years. It's okay. And as I sat there and thought about it, I was like, okay, I told my public defender, I'll take the deal. I'll take it. So I took it, and I served my 3 years in Racine. I'm sorry for the confusion, and everything is just overwhelming. Everything's just attacking me right now. It's not you guys.
So, okay, thank you very much. Is there any more direct questions for him?
What is your relationship with your wife now?
We are currently not together, but relationship-wise, we're friends, and she does support me. She does help me out when she can. And then from on there, I am not approved to see my son because She is not my chaperone. But once I do get approved to Green Bay, if you guys do, I am going to tell my parole officer, and bring in the mother of my child to sign the documents. Because she did do that once when I first got out of prison. She did come to Milwaukee County and sign the paper, and the PO did explain my case to her, which she knew.
Okay. Any other questions? So before we go to a vote on this, is there anybody here to speak for or against Mr. Vang?
No, there's nobody.
Okay. So
I
I'm reading.
have nobody.
Okay, I appreciate that. I'm reading the letter from Lockett Enterprises LLC. Okay, in regards to his classes that he's attending. Okay. It says that he's been to his 15 out of 18 sessions. Okay. And that he's been engaged in these particular sessions. Here's what I really need this information. Okay. And so Miss Gibson, Lisa Gibson, who signed this, okay? Before I could vote for him in any capacity, I need to understand if Mr. Vang has explained to Miss Gibson his situation and what he did in regards to his particular case, and what is her response for that, and then how has he behaved in these classes. So I mean, it's not necessarily, sir, about taking your word or not taking your word in this, and sir, you pleaded guilty, so I have to go with the fact that you're guilty. Okay. So, but I want to understand a little bit more
how my teacher accepted it,
and how this is going, and how this testimony you've given to us works with Miss Gibson in your class. So that's where I'm kind of at with this, folks. And I know I'm talking about pushing this out, but I don't feel that I could vote for him unless I get some more information, because we've had cases like this before where people have said hey, I pleaded this way, and I'm going through my classes and I understand that these offenses are wrong, but I have this nagging feeling in my mind here that there's more to this, and I want to kind of know before I would even give a probationary stance here. I don't know what the thoughts are.
Oh, sorry.
I'm totally in agreement. My thought is he telling Miss Gibson the same thing, what she needs to hear, but not necessarily as he was doing for us, telling us what he thought he wanted us to hear.
Right.
That's the feeling I'm getting from this. So I'm not.
I have told Ms. Gibson.
Hang for a quick second. I just want to hear everybody else's from the board's comments first, and then I'll allow you to make a comment.
Okay, sorry.
Fayed?
Yeah, that's a huge discrepancy, and if if we accept that, if we were to accept that the charges were false, I too would like to hear what he's saying in the meetings, in the group meetings with Miss Gibson. Just how you square that.
Yep.
It's just very uncomfortable right now.
Any thoughts?
I would say I have similar thoughts. At first, I thought it was a lack of remorse, but now I'm not sure. But yes, I have the same feelings you guys do.
I mean, again, I'm listening to his personal situation, and I'm, for better words, I'm kind of putting myself in it. And what would I do? And so, but if he's telling the truth, I would assume that Ms. Gibson would know about, he would have said something in these group meetings. And how does she class that he's taking or not? Is there truly a lack of remorse? Is he lying in her opinion? How's he doing and how's he reconciling that with the class he's taking? This is one of the few instances where I really feel that I need more information. So, Mr. Vang, go ahead and you can comment here.
I have told Lisa, have told her, like, this is my case on, on black and white through DLC. You have my case. You know what happened, but I am appealing it. So as of right now, she said, you are in group. You have to participate. So I'm participating. So as I do my homework and all that, I do say that. I do say I apologize for verbally abusing him, like making names and all that. And I do cooperate. I have all my homework with me. And I told her the truth. I told her I am planning to appeal this case. So how does it work? How does it apply if it didn't happen, but I'm still in group and I still have to participate? But as in there, she still works with me. She still works on me with it. Right. I mean, I do take pointers about it too. Like, okay, that does make sense, and I take it out of knowledge, and I use it in life.
Okay, thank you, Rachel. This is a question for you. So I'm not up for calling another board meeting to listen to this person's testimony, but is there a way that we could hear that person's testimony if we can get her on the phone or whatever it may be, have it recorded so that at our next meeting, the board could hear that testimony and that conversation that one of us holds with her without calling a special board meeting?
I don't know what you're asking.
So what I'm asking you, I'm going to vote no. Okay. But I believe that we need to hear from Ms. Gibson. Okay. And so either we vote no, or we vote to postpone a decision on this individual to the next meeting. And either one, we get her testimony prior to that, and we can, record it and play it for everybody, or she can attend the meeting. I don't know what's the easiest way to do it, but I'm just asking, is that an option?
I would think that she would have to attend the meeting, because if there were any questions, or I suppose Mr. Vang could submit whatever documentation, and if that documentation includes a video statement or a written statement from the therapist, it's up to him to present whatever evidence he wants the board to consider. I just don't see how having us do a recorded statement, I don't know that we would do that. I think it would be on her to appear if she wanted to make comments to the board. If that's the information the board is looking for, that's the onus is on Mr. Vang to present whatever documentation, records, support personnel that the board is looking for in order to feel comfortable approving him.
Okay.
If we were to find out that, what she would tell us is consistent with what he's telling us right now in terms of the class sessions, would you be inclined to approve? I think I would. And that being said, can we look at a temporary approval pending that verification?
Yeah, in this case, for me personally, I'm not comfortable with that, and the only reason why is the severity of the crime over that amount of time, and as the author stated, over 300 plus.
Yeah, true.
Assaults. Yeah. I'm just not coming. I'm saying, Ed, that you could make a motion.
Right.
You're more than welcome, and the board may vote that way. I'm just saying I'm not comfortable with it. not even make a decision for or against him at this point to the next meeting then, and ask Mr. Vang that, you know, she appear in front of us, you know, via Zoom, you know, you know, so we could ask her questions and vet the testimony he's given. So does anybody have any thoughts, or do you guys want to make a motion? I mean, it's your choice.
Rachel, is that because this is confidential information, wouldn't Mr. Vang have to give her permission to talk to us? And this is a public forum, so is that a problem?
You can go into private session.
Yeah, I mean, he could go into private session, or he could give the provider authority to release information. I mean,
Okay,
it is confidential, but I mean, that's up to Mr. Vang as far as how he would present that to the board.
okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion to postpone a decision on approving Mr. Vang until our next regularly scheduled meeting, at which time we would ask Mr. Vang to have Ms. Gibson available for testimony in regards to his case, and that he let her know that it can be done in a private session, so it doesn't have to be on public record. So that's my motion.
I will second.
So you're not looking to deny and have him come to the meeting next week? We're just holding this over to the next meeting?
Yep.
I just want to make sure I understand the motion.
Yep. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll vote aye for the motion.
Mm.
Okay. I didn't hear you. I didn't go either way.
I had to chew on it.
Okay. All right. So Mr. Vang, you know, we're not denying you or we're not approving you at this particular time. So at our next regularly scheduled meeting, we're going to put you first on the agenda and ask that Ms. Gibson be present.
Okay.
If she's unwilling to be present, then, you know, the only thing I can tell you is her statement in regards to her understanding of your position in this case, and then how you've approached the training that you're going through then.
Yeah.
That's where we're.
You know what day that will be? You guys got a specific day?
Yeah, we
Next
do.
meeting is February 17th.
February 17th, all right.
And we can send you a letter to that too.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and thank you for your time, and we're gonna go ahead and move on to our next case.
All right, then. I can leave then?
Yes, you can leave.
All right, then. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Yep. Next up is Kim Fellers. Is Kim on?
I'm right.
All right, thanks, Kim.
Here I am. We start. I just wanted to let you guys know that. Come here, Raina. Come here. You guys gotta say hi. The last time I was in front of you guys, it was kind of sad because I lost Raina. She's been home a year and she wanted to say hi to everybody real quick. Say hi. Hi.
I
Hello.
Yes, Renee. Hi, Renee. Got the baby back, like you guys asked.
Good. So obviously we've heard your case before, but you have a right to go over your case again if you so choose with us.
Okay.
Or we can talk specifically if you want to move right to why you need to go ahead and move to this new location. Which would you kind of prefer here?
Kind of because you guys already know everything about me from 1996 and to this day, so we can just go why I need to move.
Is everybody on the board okay with moving in that direction, or do you want her to go over the whole case again?
I would like to hear at least an overview.
Oh, you're new, right?
I knew it, yes.
Okay, okay, I don't mind doing that. 96, I did a crime that was like an escort service, and I had multiple girls working for me. 2 were under the age of 18. So I have 2 counts of child enticement and 2 counts of child prostitution, uttering, and 15 driving after revocations, all in one case. I did set up the shows for the girls, went to the shows with the girls, and I pled no contest because I did the crime, and I couldn't fight that I didn't do it because I did do it, and I knew I needed to be punished for what I did. And this was in 1996. I've been out for 6 years, going on 7. Haven't reoffended again in the sense since 1996. I do have I was a drug addict, and my daughter had metabolized cocaine in her system, and because she was to hand to mouth still. I'm on probation for that currently. I have 2 years in. I have a year left. I am done with my community service. I did 2 drug treatments, mental health treatment. My daughter was in foster care for 15 months, and I got her home. Within 2 months of me having her home, they closed my case early because I was doing everything on my own, and we're going to be starting Zoom groups for parents that have worked with CPS and has experience with CPS, and encouraging and giving assistance to other parents that are working with CPS now. Resources, drug treatment programs if they need that, mental health, all that. So I currently do that too.
Kim, are you still currently employed?
I work at Safe Haven. I'm going to be starting because Safe Haven Pet Sanctuary on Broadway. I work there taking care. I'm the pet care person. One of the people there that take care of the pets when they're sick or they have special needs and stuff. I did all my community service as of yesterday. I got done. So they are going to hire me on part-time because I am on SSI. And I have physical limitations and stuff, and mental health issues and stuff. Currently taking my medications that I've been on for many years. So I'm doing that. My mom passed away in September of the year before, not this last summer, but the summer before. And that's when the social services seen that I was serious about staying clean and sober. Even though I did all that I needed to do for drug treatment and parenting and mental health treatment, but I showed them that I didn't relapse and that I still stayed clean and sober, even though I was right there when my mom died and I was actually by myself.
Okay. Faye, is there anything else or Ed you'd like to know about her?
I don't see anything about treatment. Was treatment required?
Drug treatment, yeah.
But
SOT, when I was incarcerated, I started it and then I got kicked out of it because I couldn't hold back tears when they would talk about their crimes. Because I have an extensive sexual abuse past with me being abused. But Pablo did do an assessment since I've been on probation. And I've been on probation for 2 years, and it was right when I got on probation, and he was supposed to get back to my probation agent of the assessment that he did on me, and obviously they aren't making me do any kind of SOT treatment. because I physically didn't molest anybody, even though it is a sex crime. And I did lure a child into a building or a closed area with an item. So as far as I know, Pablo, I don't know, because my PO has never said anything since I did the evaluation. So, and that was the summer of, or wait, was it the winter of? It was either, no, like the spring or summer of 2019, I believe. Yeah, 19 is when Candy had me see Pablo over there on University Avenue. And I sat down and had a one-on-one with him, and I haven't heard anything back about the assessment since then.
And how long have you lived at your current address?
I've been here 2 years.
Why are you moving?
Okay, so there was a neighbor that was kicked out. They didn't renew a lease, and he came back into town for Thanksgiving, and he stopped by to see everybody that lived here. And he came in, and I was like talking to him and his brother, and I was like, oh, well, you know, I was cooking all that whole day. And so I made him a plate, and he sat down on the couch and he passed out, and his lips started turning blue. I called 911. And they told me to get him on the floor and do chest compressions on him, and I did. And because I had to call 911, and he did something to overdose, and when he got here, that's when he passed out, and he almost died. But I did chest compressions on him until the police came, and then they were taken in the ambulance and stuff. But my landlord was upset because they had stopped here, but he didn't tell anybody that he was coming, and then the landlord didn't say he couldn't be ever back on the property if he came to visit or something. So he's doing a non-renewal of lease. That's pretty much it. I don't hang out with him normally. I mean, when he lived here, he lived here. We seen each other like in the backyard. I had my daughter's pool in the back, and we grill and stuff like that. So I never seen anything like that before. But I do not associate with him or his brother at all, like, because I don't ever want that to trigger even though that's not my drug of choice or whatever, but it could still trigger my addiction. So I try to keep my circle so small that I'm actually bumping into all the walls myself, because I don't allow any kind of triggers. Try not to allow any kind of triggers that can, because I've learned in drug treatment, when you do get triggered, that your brain lights up for at least 5 days after that trigger. Really, really, really careful about relapse in that time period. So I just kind of like I said, keep my circle small. It's just me, my partner Lisa, and Raina. My sister is a good support system. My aunt Sharon is still a good support system. My mother has passed away. But now I actually have Safe Haven, who are recovering addicts also, the owner and the managers and stuff like that. So, and the owner works at Jackie Nitschke Center. So if I have her struggle, I can definitely call upon them to help me. Like I said, I was doing my community service there, and now they're willing to hire me part-time just because they love the care that I give to the cats. I had a 15-year-old blind and deaf cat that I had to put down last week because we found out she had kidney cancer, and personal care. I was her personal care worker to help, work with her. And I wear the same scent so she knew it was me, because she couldn't see or hear. She started, kind of growling, like when we'd pet, like one side.
We're kind of getting a little off topic, so I'm just gonna.
Right, but yeah. So I mean, I got a lot of people in my corner right now, like more than I did even back 2 years ago.
So Faye, do you have anything more you want to know?
No, I'm okay.
All right, does anybody want to make a motion in this particular case?
I just have one question first. You mentioned a partner, but when you say you plan to live with, you just have your daughter. Are you living with your partner also?
No, no, we live in separate apartments still because of
Okay.
probation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, does anybody want to make a motion?
I will. I'll make a motion to approve her appeal to move to 1533 Leo Street, apartment 6.
Is there a second?
I will second.
All in favor of the motion? Unless there's any discussion anybody wants here before we vote. All right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Ms. Fellers, you've been approved to 1533 Leo Street, apartment 6. Do you want it sent to your current address?
No, because I'm moving tomorrow.
Okay.
So just send it to the new address.
Okay, we can do that.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Next up is the appeal of Mr. Daniel Hebb.
He's on here. He just needs to unmute himself.
Okay.
All right, got me?
Gotcha. Okay, Mr. Hebb, last time we saw you was in August of 2020. And looks like you're looking to move to 1904 Farland Avenue, apartment 2. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Again, before we get into your particular case, I'm first going to ask the board if they want to hear his details of his case again, or do we want to move directly to asking why he needs to move?
I don't need to hear.
Okay, so tell us why you need to move.
Landlord issue, I guess. My landlord right now is Bao. She's getting up there in age, and she is selling her properties or giving her properties to, I believe it's Roush Property Management, and they're upping the rent. And she is being very, I would say, unpleasant to be renting from. So for me to quit going back and forth and maybe having disagreements, I felt it was better for me to find a new place and a new residence to live and not deal with up in rent and the new property management and stuff that is going on that end.
Are you still currently employed, sir?
Correct.
And who with again?
Georgia Pacific.
Okay. Does anybody have any additional questions they want to know before we ask for a vote in this particular case?
Have you had any trouble since we last saw you?
Negative. I had no contact with no police. See my PO. I'm at a once a month now, so everything has been going good so far since our last August.
Does anybody have any more questions for him? Does anybody want to make a motion in his particular case?
I will move that we grant his appeal to move to 1904 Farland Avenue, apartment 2.
A second.
All in favor, address specific, I'm assuming, Ed?
Yes, I read the address, yes.
Yep. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, sir, you've been approved to move to 1904 Farland Avenue. Do you want it sent to that location or to your existing location?
To the one you guys I'm living at now.
Okay, 521 South Oakland.
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yep.
Aye.
Next is the appeal of Ricky Bridges.
This is Deanna. I do not have anybody else on here or waiting to get into the call.
Okay. Based upon that, I'm going to make a motion to deny Mr. Bridges to 1313 George Street apartment or B, apartment B. Is there a second to that?
I'll second it. Oh.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, he has been denied to live at 1313 Street, St. George Street. One thing I noticed in this particular appeal, it says he's living there already, so I think we should send an officer out there at this particular time.
I will let PD know.
All right, thank you. Next meeting is February the 17th at 4 p.m. Does anybody else have anything else they want to bring forward? If not, I will ask for a motion to dismiss.
That motion?
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you guys very much. Thanks to the law department. You guys are awesome as usual. You guys always have the ducks in order.
Thank you, Dean.
All right.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.
Have a good night.